Can you hear me?
Hey, Daisy, yes.
I was like, I hope I know how to figure this out.
Yeah, I can just see the top of your head, though. Where's your camera? Zoom it. There you go. Hey,
How are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
Good.
Good. So,
It's a little bit, it's hot in here. Is it hot over there?
yeah, yeah, and humid is disgusting, but yeah.
I know.
So, did you have a closing? Did you get your seller's paperwork? What's going on? Tell me all about it.
So we're closing June 4th,
Okay.
and it's that title already where you got all that squared away. So that house was actually a house that I had managed before.
Okay.
She sold me the duplex that I have.
Awesome.
And yeah, so I had managed her property here. It's the only property that she has left here in Roswell. She's in California. And so she started liquidating all her real estate, and that's the last one she has. And so I was managing it for her, and I basically told her that I wasn't going to manage it anymore because I don't have time.
Yep.
And I had told her about selling it to me.
Yeah.
On a real estate contract, and she had said no. And I was like, that's fine, actually I had this conversation with her probably like a month ago, and I wasn't pressuring her at all. I just threw it out there, and I said, hey, because it had been vacant for about 2 months now, so I just kind of threw it out there. I said, hey, I'd be more than happy to buy it from you, if you're willing to owner finance it. And she knows I buy only owner finance houses. And she's like, oh no, I'm older. I don't want to carry the papers. And I said, that's fine. And I said, well, if you don't want to sell it to me, why don't we just list it and sell it? Because I said, I don't have the time to manage it anymore. So I just kind of threw it out there. And so about a week and a half ago, she sends me a message. She's like, are you still interested in buying the house? I said, yeah. And I had ran the numbers, and she's the one that came up with a price of $73,500, and I was like, fantastic. Better than what I was thinking. And she's the one that just said, and I just want $2,000 down, and I'll pay all closing costs. And I said, let's do it.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
what are you buying it for then? So you're buying it for the 73?
73.5.
Okay, and how much are you paying a month?
I'm paying for 60 something.
All right. How much do you think it's worth?
It's worth about 85.
Okay.
And I can rent it for 820. I actually rented it already. Yeah, so I'm renting it for 825.
Okay, so $400 a month?
Yeah, and
12 on top?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's in my like honey hole that you would call it, because it's where the duplex is located.
Awesome.
It's down the street from the duplex. And I love that area because it's in the north part of town, and it's close to like we have the New Mexico Military Institute here.
Okay.
And it's in the downtown area. I mean, it's close to everything. And a lot of people like that area because there's like walking trails.
Awesome.
It's really nice. The trees are all nicely shaded and beautiful. And so I used to always say, I would love to buy a house. But, when she was like, she just said, no. And I said, that's fine. I said, well, why don't we list it? Because she's a tired landlord. And I just, she was okay with it because I was managing it.
Yep. And you already had a relationship. Relationships work.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, because everyone's like, where do you get these deals from? And I said, honestly, they've just like landed on my lap, with the relationship, like you said, the relationships, like I bought the duplex owner finance, and I cashed her out last year.
Okay.
So I refinanced that. So she's paid off on that one. So, the relationship is there, know, and, but, I kind of just threw it out there, no pressure. I said, you don't want to sell it? That's fine, and out of nowhere, she's like, do you still want to buy it?
Yes, I do.
I said, yeah. And then this other lady that she actually had contacted me about one of my rentals.
Mhm.
And then she tells me that her mom passed away, and that they want to get rid of the house. And I said, "Where's your house?" And she's like, "Oh, so she told me, and it's actually down the street from where I just bought my last rental." And I said, "Can I go look at it?" She's like, "Yeah, let's go look at it." So I went, and I was just like, so it's her and like two sisters, and no one wants anything to do with the house. Like, they don't need the money. So I kind of threw it at her. I said, "Well, would you guys be interested in owner financing it?" And she's like, "Well, how does that work?" And I said, "Well, there's no commission, there's no appraisals, there's no inspections, and you get a monthly check." And she's like, "That sounds too good to be true." And I said, "It is." So her sister, we're waiting for one of her sisters to come in from out of town so I can sit down and talk to them about the numbers. I offered $77,000 to them, and I can easily, the only thing it needs is a lipstick on the pig type of thing. It's it has good bones, and it has great square footage, and it's in a great established neighborhood. It's ideal for first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
And I could easily sell it for $125,000.
$50,000?
Yeah, just, I'm thinking we're going to go in, we're going to paint, we're going to rip out some ugly carpet. And my husband does the work, so we save on that. And the bathrooms, we're going to do minor updating, like changing out the vanities, but it's not a good job. It really isn't. And it has a great fenced-in backyard, a huge enclosed sunroom. I mean, it's perfect for a family.
Awesome.
And they're just like, "We don't want the house." And I'm like, "I want it."
Fantastic.
Yeah. So it's funny how sometimes you're not even actively looking, and they kind of just land on your lap.
Well, that's because you're always putting those vibes out there. It's just sometimes, when it rains, it pours.
Yeah, and I kind of just, I think it's important for, like, I just talk to people and I say, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I want to do." And then, like that last house that I bought, my boss was like, "Hey, I have this listing. She's a tired out-of-town landlord. And are you interested in buying it with no down payment and for what she owes on it?" And I was like,
"Yes, please."
"Yeah.
2. I'll take 2.
I was like, "Yeah." And that's how that one happened. And actually, that one, I'm renting it for $1,000, and my payment is like $525.
Perfect.
And my tenant, he already told me he wants to buy it. I was like, "Great.
Show me the money."
Yeah, I was like, "Great." So he's waiting on his VA, and so the renewal, I think, is in December or November for the lease, and that's when we'll go ahead and sell it to him.
Perfect.
Yep. So that one, I owe on it right now about $83, and I'm selling it to him for $110.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you got 50 in that one and you got almost 30 in that one, I mean, that's an extra like $100,000 that you've told me about in just 3 deals.
Yes. And see, it's kind of like, I was just like, wow, these things just keep happening. And I don't know if I told you, but we bought a 5-acre lot 4 years ago, and we kind of just had it sitting there. Our goal was ultimately to build our house there. And we didn't start working on it till last year. Like, we did the well, the electricity, we have our horses out there, we have the barn, we have 25 pecan trees. So now we've been working on the outside buildings, because I just want to get the construction loan just for the house.
Yep.
And we already have all the pipe fencing, which is a lot, for 5 acres.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just like, oh my God, with all this extra money, I'm going to get a really small construction loan. Yeah.
That is fantastic, Daisy. Oh my gosh, that is so awesome.
Yeah, and I think that the best thing that you can do is just spread the word.
Yep.
Anyone that will hear you, you just tell them, like that deal that my boss brought me, I had just told him, hey, I'm gonna actively start investing, blah blah blah. And out of nowhere he called me, hey, I have this listing. She'll sell it to you, for what she owes on it and no down payment. I was like, amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
You.
Like, I was like, do you have more of these?
I'll take all of these you can give me. Just keep rolling them over.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't believe my boss didn't take advantage of that. Like, he has a lot of money, and I've told him, why don't you invest in real estate? I don't know. Just send them my way.
Some people, I will say, some people are risk adverse.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe he knew somebody at some point who made a bad investment or whatever, so he may not. He also may have other things that he does, or he's got other, whatever. So don't look a gift horse in the mouth,
Yep. Oh yeah, I was just like, you send them all my way, okay? Please. And it's funny because I gave him the contract on the newest house, and he's like, you're buying another one? I said, yeah. And he's like, where do you find these deals?
I just do what women do, and then I buy houses.
Yeah, seriously. I'm just like, I'm amazed at just talking to people, and then they'll be, oh, like that lady, she's like, my mom died in February and we don't want the house. I was like, okay. They're not, right away I could tell they weren't desperate for money. They were just like, take it off my hands.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they want a fair offer. They want to be treated nicely. They don't want to be jerked around. And that's what you do. That's what you provide. And so you're helping them.
Yeah. And I told them, I said, no commission, no appraisals, and no inspections. And I told them, I said, even if we listed this at, like, let's say 85, I said, how much is going to be coming out of the costs, And so I kind of did just a fast breakdown of what commission would be, what inspections and appraisals would be in. And she's like, no, I like your first idea. And I said, yeah.
Because it's simple, right? And it takes all of everything that makes real estate so complicated, it just simplifies it and makes it easy. She's already dealing with the loss of her mom. She doesn't need this other thing going on, cramping down her brain and, trying to live and handle like all of that. So it's so beautiful. I'm so glad you can help them.
That's what she was saying. She's like, I'm busy decluttering the house and just cleaning out the house. And this is one last thing I have to worry about. And I said, yeah, and I told her, I said, this works in both of our favors. Yeah. I said, because you don't have to go through all the loops of, will it appraise? The inspections came back, blah, blah, blah. And I said, and I don't have to go to the bank.
And there's so many of those people out there. You could easily do. I mean, how many deals have you done in the last 3 weeks? Like 3 or 4 deals in the last 3 weeks?
Yes. I mean, it's been crazy. And I think it becomes like a snowball effect. That you're just like, wow, like they keep coming, they keep rolling in. And then, so I'll like on my Snapchat, I'm always like, oh, I bought another house, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm getting feedback like, hey, my neighbor's interested in selling, and I'm like, give me her number, So right now I have several leads that I need to follow up on this week to see, what the reasoning is behind selling, what their urgency is, how needy they are, and how motivated they are as sellers.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And, when people ask me, well, why don't you go to the bank? Because I don't want to.
Because I don't have to.
I said, because I'm not going to tie up my money on one rental.
Yep.
And, and I tell them, I specifically buy on owner. Everything that I've bought has been on an owner finance deal.
Another thing that you can tell them too is, it's more fun this way. I get to be more in control, and the banks don't need any more money. No. This way we get to keep it between us.
And when I break it down to them about no appraisals, no inspections, then it changes like their outlook, because in the beginning they feel like, oh, well, this is just to your advantage. And then I say, no. And then I say, there's no commission, there's no appraisals. And then they're like, ah. And I said, like the lady that's just selling her house, when I had told her, I said, why don't you owner finance it to me? I said, you'll still be getting, it'll be like you're still renting it, because she was paying me a management fee. So I said, no more taxes, no more insurance, and no more management fee. And you're still getting a check.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, like you could tell it, like it hit her then, but she was just like, oh, well, yeah, you let me know. And she did.
She's ready.
Yep. She's ready to get rid of it. And I'm ready to, and I already have a renter.
I love it. So it'll be a buy and hold.
Yes.
We'll do a regular rental on the other side. That's totally cool. You're making $400 a month, whatever. Love it.
And I've just been buying and holding. I mean, that's all I've been doing, but I'm definitely looking at, for example, that house that my renter is going to buy. I mean, I held it for, it's going to be a year that I'll be holding it, and he's going to be buying it, and I'm already making quite a bit of money on it. So,
That's good. And that'll be long-term capital gains.
Yes. So
I like that.
That's what, I'm just like, I just kind of been, and all my properties have equity. I haven't pulled any equity out of them. So, I know that if I needed it, I can refinance, like on my current house, this one that I'm living in, it needed TLC when we bought it, but my husband fixes things, and I also bought it owner financed. So I have about 50,000 in equity in it now. And my goal is to pull the equity out and sell it owner financed on a 2-year note. So I'll be pulling the equity, and I'll be getting a down payment, and the house will still be getting paid.
I do want to caution you, maybe not sell it on owner financing.
Okay.
Sell it on a real estate contract.
Okay.
So that the title doesn't transfer to their name. Worst case scenario, you just evict them.
Yes. So what's the difference?
So owner financing is when the title changes to their name.
Which is what I've been doing myself.
Which is what I want you to do when you're buying.
Yes.
But when you're selling, I want you to keep the control, because if they stop making payments or whatever, you have to foreclose on them in owner financing.
It's a process. Yep.
So, but if you do the lease option, or you do a rent to own, or you do the real estate contract, or you do, whatever your state's going to call it, you just evict them.
So it would be a lease option, right?
Yes.
Because it stays in my name. They give me the lease.
Non-refundable option fee.
Yep. And then if they stop paying,
they go away.
So, and it works the same way, where you would have to file the paperwork for an eviction, right?
Yes. But it's just an eviction. It's not a foreclosure. So it takes a lot less time. It's a lot less expensive. It doesn't give them as much control, because once the title's in their name, they could go get a lien on it. But if they're just doing a really fancy rental, they can't cloud anything against it.
Yes. And you know what? That's
it's a control. It's a control thing. So, and you may have been thinking on it clearly. I just want to make sure that we define that.
Yeah, there's a difference. You're right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So yeah, I think that, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Pull, the equity out for my new build. And
holy crap, is going to be paid for in cash by the time you get this equity and get all these deals closed. Holy crap.
Yeah. And you know what? That has always been my goal. Like, I want to be mortgage free on my dream home.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of people were like, why are you doing everything backwards? Because I've been working on the outside and then the house. And I said, because I already have the land, I already have the well, I have everything that usually people just go and get a big fat loan for, and then they're in debt up to their eyeballs. And I said, I don't want to be that person. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do things, I don't want to be house poor. That's terrible. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And nobody can tell you which way is right for you.
Yep. Oh, no, we've been going against the norm, because everyone in that subdivision, there's several new houses going up, and you'll see the house, and then kind of like the outside is kind of left to, whatever. And I said, we're doing everything, we've been cash flowing everything and just going to get the construction loan for just the house.
The peace of mind that's got to bring is got to be huge.
Yes. Oh, definitely. Because I mean, in the business I'm in, I see it all the time where people are just like house poor.
Yeah.
They overbuy. They're up to, just because the bank gives you the loan doesn't mean that it's okay. You're going to be in debt up to your eyeballs and have no money to travel or do anything.
I think you're on a great path. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. And so I've been talking a lot with my boss doesn't do rentals, but I've been kind of coaxing him into private lending.
Oh.
Because he has a lot of moolah.
Ooh.
And I think he's warming up to the idea. Mm-hmm. And I've been talking to other agents in my office that, they have rentals here and there, but they kind of do it old school, where they save money and, then they buy. And I haven't been doing that. I've just been doing owner finance and, and so one of them, she's married to a doctor, and I was kind of, throwing some ideas at her. And I was telling her, I said, well, now what I want to do is get into private lending, and I just told her, I said, instead of having the money just sitting in your bank account collecting little to nothing, on interest, I said, you loan me the money, and you collect an interest, great compared to what you'd be getting at the bank. And then your money is working for you and you don't have to do anything. And she's like a light bulb went off. She's like,
people do that?
Yeah,
they do. Yeah, they do.
And another girl that works with me, I had lunch with her because she's really interested in learning what I've been doing. And she was telling me that her husband was wanting to do something with their money, like rentals or something. But she's like, he doesn't have it in him to do rentals. He's not a landlord type of person. So when I mentioned about the private lending, she's like, I think he'd totally go for that because his money would still be working and he wouldn't have to be having landlord headaches, And
it would be protected by the real estate.
Exactly. So I said, yeah, so we're supposed to have dinner in the next 2 weeks or so to kind of, he wants to hear my ideas and, take it from there and see if he's comfortable enough with going for it.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
So, on lease options, because I've never done a lease option, I found a good attorney here in town. I haven't talked to him, but so basically you just talk to him and have him write up the paperwork.
Give him the one-pager that I give you and make sure that he's okay with that. And then you'll need a supplement to go along with it to be a real estate agent.
Okay.
And make sure he's okay with that. He may want to tweak it, but make sure he realizes that the emphasis is on it being just one page.
Okay.
And then you can give him the full-blown contract.
Mm-hmm.
There's a buyer and a seller side, a seller and a buyer side. On that, you can give him that, and he can say, no, this is crap. No, I'm going to change this. No, I'm going to do that. But it's a lot easier. It's like a house. It's easier to go in and remodel a house than it is to build it from the ground up. Yeah. So these contracts, you give him a shell, and he goes through and changes it. But he doesn't have to type up every word out of his brain.
Yeah, exactly.